Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, today I'm going to be covering a tournament held in Baltimore, Maryland, which is called the K-12 National Championships. Now, it's a school-based competition. Schools can send teams to compete in this, ranging from elementary to high school. And my high school was thinking about sending some players, but ultimately most of us didn't end up going because of cost and airfare, hotels, and missing school. It's just a huge commitment. But two people ended up representing going to Baltimore, and one of these people is Diptarko Gupta, and but he goes by Deep. But anyway, another friend told me that the games were shown on VHS, and I couldn't help but watch the game, and I'm gonna go over this in a recap here, as you guys are gonna see. I'm gonna go over the game and commentate on how this went. And for your information, Deep is playing against international master Eric Liu, rated 2300, but Deep is himself around 1400, so quite a one-sided game here, but I don't want to say too much because Deep actually put up quite a fight. He was holding equality for a long time in the game, and just gonna want to show this to you. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the action. So Deep first starts off with G4, and already I disapprove of this move. It's because sorry about that. I know what that button did. Alright, so he played the move G4 with the Grob, and already Black's better because you're not fighting for the center, you're weakening your king side, and Black can play D5 immediately to attack the pawn on G4. But Eric does it a different way. He plays the move E5. There's not really a difference here. Deep plays bishop G2, and also there's timestamps and next to the players, so yeah. We got D5, the pawn is now attacked, and Deep straight up just gambits it, plays the move D3, and for some reason Eric does not just grab the free pawn over here, but rather plays the move knight to C6, and I can't really criticize an international master. They're way better at chess than me, and knight C6 is a perfectly decent move, just developing another piece toward the center and saying, hey, look, you can waste time defending your pawn. I'm just going to focus on getting my pieces out. So Deep does defend it. He plays the move H3, bishop to E6. We get the move E4 on the board. And Black's already building an advantage because of the questionable opening choice. And best move here is to lash out of the king side to play H5, take advantage of the hook pawn White has created. And you may say, well, this is just a free pawn, right? Okay, but the engine suggests after the trade on the center, Black could just play knight f6, attack the bishop, and if you try to defend your pawn like this, Black is a very comfortable position, can play moves like queen d7, long castle, and White's pawns on the king side are split. The queen side is very far from being developed, and I don't see good prospects for White at all. But instead, Eric plays taking in the e4 and plays knight f6, which drops some of the advantage. Okay, top move here, which I don't really understand, is to take the knight. Point is, I guess, to double the pawns, but your light squares are already super weak around the king side, so I don't know why I would give away your bishop, which is like the last hope of defending the king side. So I understand Deep's next move, bishop to g2, and another surprising fact is that Deep is playing quicker than the international master. Deep already has a 18-minute advantage. And if I were to watch this game, I would expect the international master to be moving faster than Deep because he's, one, more relaxed. He kind of knows the outcome of the game, and he shouldn't be intimidated by someone 900 points lower than him. But that's just me. Maybe Eric's just a very cautious, reserved player that really wants to think no matter the rating discrepancy. Anyway, bishop c5, Deep develops his knight, and then only now Eric plays the move h5 to lash out of the g4 pawn. Deep correctly, in my opinion correctly, again, top move is to give away the powerful bishop in the diagonal, which I don't understand, and then play g5. So I don't really get why g5 here is not as good. g5 is good because it advances the pawn, kicks the knight away. The knight moves to the center. Deep declines the trade of knights, plays knight to e4, which I like because it gains a tempo on the bishop, allowing white to develop another piece after the bishop retreats, which is exactly what happens. Knight to e2. Eric plays the move h4, a3 by Deep, and we get the move knight to e7. I suppose his idea is to free the d5 square for his bishop, or maybe reroute it to f5. I'm not sure. But what's amazing here is that as soon as Deep played g4 on the first move, it was like -1, right? Deep has played in such a way that it's only slightly better for black. So Deep played a disrespectful opening against a titled player, and he's not even worse, which is a miracle. So he plays bishop to e3. And yeah, this is basically an equal position here. Eric Liu plays the move knight to d4, and here Deep plays the move c4. I'm not a fan of this move because it leaves d4 as a huge outpost for that knight. Now you might be saying, okay, well the knight can just be traded, right? You can just take the knight on d4 whenever you feel like it. And I would say, yeah, you're right, but the d3 pawn is going to become backwards in the long term if, let's say, black castles long, and you just create a huge hole on d4. So I don't really understand c4. I guess the idea is to prevent knight d5 or something, but if I were in this position, I would just probably take, and if bishop takes, I would play like c3, bishop would move, I would play queen c2 and prepare long castling. Also, if the pawn takes, then I would just hop my knight into f4, gain the tempo on the bishop. Black will probably go queen d7, and after a trade like this, maybe you go queen f3, prepare long castling, and Deep actually has quite a pleasant position here, even though it's only plus 0.2. Like for instance, if black castles long here, not now, but in the future, there's a battery on the b7 pawn in front of black's king, so I think Deep has some good prospects here. So I don't support c4 here. Knight f5 attacks the bishop, and now he decides to take the knight on d4. Bishop takes, and he plays knight to c3. Okay, top moves are really obscure here. Rook b1, well, actually that makes sense, defending the pawn. But I would have preferred to maybe develop the queen or something. The rook kind of looks awkwardly placed. Another move is to just castle, but you already push pawns in front of your king. It's kind of a weird move. Plus, you're letting black just take this pawn. So, I don't know. So, but anyway, bishop takes, knight to c3, c6, and also, haven't been really commenting on the time much. Deep has been thinking more here. Eric's still lower on time, but Deep is only ahead by a few minutes instead of like 20 minutes several moves ago. So Eric plays the move c6. We get rook b1 now. Queen e7, queen c2. Both players are just making slow improving moves. Rook to d8, bishop to f3, and now for the first time, Deep is lower on time than Eric Liu. Plays the move bishop to f3. I guess the idea is to try to reroute to g4. And let's see, if I were black in this position, let's see, is castling good here? Castling's fine, yeah, I would probably castle in this position. Bishop e6 is also a great move because, again, going back to that c4 move, who's going to stop knight to e4? Knight to d4. Only real way to do it is knight to e2. But then, yeah, black just builds a lot of pressure on a d3 pawn, and this wouldn't have happened if white hadn't played c4 here. So, yeah, he attacks the pawn. Deep defends with rook to d1, knight to d4 now, and now the bishop just patrols the dark squares. That bishop is anchored on that really cemented d4 square. Bishop to g2, top move. And now time has equalized. Queen e7. bishop to f3 again. And here, I don't really know what happened to lichess. Deep's time goes away for 2 moves, so he has no time. Eric here plays the move f5, and, en passant is forced, right? Of course, here, and maybe a move like rook g1 to take control of the file. And in this position, neither side is really going to castle, let's be honest here. But how come black is better? Well, black's better because of the d4 square. They have more center space. And I think white's king is in a bit more precariously positioned than black's king. So, yeah, top move here is the weird king d7. That point is to try to castle long manually. So let's just say white just dawdles. The point is to get the king over here. And how is white ever going to castle along them? How is white ever going to manually castle? There's not really... If you try a move like this, then f5. Okay, you can move your knight. All right, then black gets all sorts of fun by opening the center. And if you take, then all sorts of bad stuff can happen like this. So yeah, the reason black's better is because they have the flexibility to move their king to a safer spot. So after f5, deep, of course, follows the principle. En passant is forced. f6, then plays the move queen to d2. f5. Now deep's time is back to normal again. And Eric is lower on time by 5 minutes. Knight to g5. He jumps the knight in to attack the bishop. Bishop c8. Rook g1. King d7 now, going back to the idea of castling long. King e2. Deep plays the delayed bomb cloud in an attempt to try to do the same thing. King c7. Bishop g2. King b8. b4. He tries to go for some sort of attack on the queen side, but ultimately that is way too slow. Bishop to b6, c5, bishop c7. He tries to kick the bishop away. Rook to e1, e4. And he's threatening to open the center, blast open the e file. So deep hides the king on f1, but to no avail. Black slowly starts to build the pressure here. With queen f6, deep has to sacrifice. After bishop f5, he sacks the exchange, so he's now down a full rook, also down 4 minutes. This is more than enough to win for an international master. And after rook to e8, deep hangs checkmate in 2. Not really much else you can do here. And the game ends with queen to a1 check, and I assume in this position deep resigned the game because we did not see queen to c1 happen because the arrow was grayed out, indicating that the game is over. So, again, I kind of expected this to happen. Sorry, Deep, if you're watching. You're playing a freaking titled player. At the same time, I want to commend you for, one, not letting black take advantage of you right away for playing the Grob. You actually had an equal position for several moves, and I'm very impressed that you held that equality against such a strong player, and you held your composure and didn't get intimidated by the fact. So if subsequent rounds are posted on lichess, I'll be sure to check them out and maybe make videos on those too. But until now, gonna go ahead and say thank you guys for watching. If you like content like this, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my videos, and have a great rest of your day or night.